I can't just go to an agency, an industry party and get to know people that way. But I can meet editors at conferences, and that's still a thing that is happening virtually and in person.
Welcome to Modern Publishing. I'm Victoria, author, editor, and the owner of Blue Pen, and today I'm on with Anjanette Barr. Anjanette is a literary agent at Dunham Literary. She's been in various branches of the writing and publishing world for over a decade, and she is now a literary agent, and she finds that as the perfect way to synthesize her interests and talents. She lives in Juneau, Alaska, and represents authors across age categories and most genres. Yeah, I might be a little bit biased as I live in East Tennessee and running Blue Pen, which is a fully remote business. So we have folks all over. And it does have such wonderful implications, allowing us to find the best and the brightest, whether they're in Tennessee, New York, Alaska. It's such a great thing. When you're trying to build connections with editors, specifically, and especially as a newer agent, what does that look like for you?
Yeah. Sometimes it just looks like reaching out and emailing an editor to find out if they have time to meet, or if they could send me, just a short reply to tell me what they're looking for. Oftentimes it just means listening and paying attention. I listen to a lot of interviews and panels, and I read articles about editors to get a feel for what they're looking for, passively, so they don't have to actively invest that time in getting to know me. And then when I feel that I have a good match for them, I can seek them out and establish a closer relationship from there. And I think usually once you've had that initial conversation, even if it didn't turn out to be a good match, they're eager and happy to continue talking about other, possible matches, or just to get to know you better, because it's really important for them to have good relationships with agents as well, because we, help maintain some order in the whole process, and we filter out, some of the projects that wouldn't be a good fit for them, but we also manage author expectations, and so it's important for them to be able to communicate well and find agents that they do communicate well with, to be that buffer between them and authors. So they have an interest in getting to know agents. And I think some editors maybe have more time for that than others, or more interest in building new relationships than others. But overall, it has not been difficult to get to know anyone in this industry. Actually, they're just people, and they're also book people, and book people are great. So it's not been difficult, but I try and take advantage of any opportunity to, like I said, listen to a panel, go to a virtual mixer. When an email comes into my inbox, as that's an introduction to all of the editors at a particular publishing house, I make notes about anyone that might be, a good fit for my authors, or that I could see working with in the future, and try and stay organized on my part. But yes, I don't have all of the tools at my disposal. I can't just go to an agency, an industry party and get to know people that way. But I can meet editors at conferences, and that's still a thing that is happening virtually and in person. So when I'm at a conference, I can take advantage of whoever else is there who's attending. So, yeah.
That's great to hear about. I know this is kind of information that authors don't hear about too much. There's kind of this wall between authors and agents, and it can be really difficult, especially for authors who are querying, to understand that, like you said, we're all just book people,
right? Yeah,
everybody in the industry. So what would you, if you could tell authors something about agents or something about what you do to help them understand kind of who they're talking to and maybe feel a little bit better about the querying process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What would that be?
Well, I did a talk at a conference not too long ago about kind of demystifying the literary agent role and what that looks like behind the scenes. And I showed them a pie chart of all the different jobs that agents have. And a lot of authors were surprised to know that anything happens beyond the yes or no to a query. Yes, I want to read it. Yes, I want to represent you. When that's just the very beginning of our job, and our job, the scope of our job is just huge. And so I think I would love more authors to understand what else agents do, because then I think they can feel a little bit better about when we say our list is full, we're too busy for that right now, so sorry we haven't gotten back to you, all those things. It's a lot more understandable when you understand all the other things that are happening. So yes, we do get queries every day. I get about 20 a day sometimes, and we have to reply to those or decide not to. And I think it'll make more sense that some agents decide not to when you hear what the other things that we're doing. Although we do reply to every query because we feel that's important, but I don't judge those who don't. When we receive, those queries, we have to make a decision to, say no thank you, or to say I'd love to read more. And then we, of course, at some point have to make time to read those manuscripts that we requested. But in the meantime, we're juggling things like the authors that we have chosen to represent. We are helping them get their social media and website, maybe not actively doing that with them, but giving them advice when they're stuck, helping them decide what's good to share, what's not good to share. Some authors need more coaching than others in those aspects. We are rereading that manuscript of that author that we accepted and giving them those kind of last minute pointers and helping them decide on tricky issues. We are compiling lists of editors that might work well for them and finding that contact information. And then we're composing a pitch that's a lot like the pitch that authors send to agents in a query letter, but that involves more, including like a one-page synopsis and a marketing statement and some other things in addition to that manuscript, so that then we can hand choose those editors to send them out to. And then there's the pitching and the conversations that happen with that. Then the contract negotiations, which can go on for a very long time. And there's a lot of details there. And that's just the authors who don't have deals yet. And then the authors who do have deals, we're managing their finances. We're finding new opportunities for them in merchandising deals, film, audiobook, those sorts of things. We are being the buffer between authors and editors who maybe aren't quite getting along or don't have the same vision for a work, so that we can smooth everyone's feelings. We're touching base with authors to make sure they're meeting deadlines, touching base with editors to make sure they're meeting their deadlines. There's just a lot going on, and it's pretty constant. And agents who have a list that has been growing for a while and authors who have been publishing for a while constantly have financial statements and things coming in that they have to deal with professionally and timely. So reading ends up being something that we do for a very small portion of our day. And I think that authors think that that's the bulk of our work, is reading those manuscripts and getting back to them. And really, it becomes fairly low on the list of priorities, because it does take a significant amount of concentration and dedicated time. And we've got a lot of things coming at us always. Things always being backed up. And in addition to that, agents do a lot of teaching and coaching, and we only make money on commission from our authors. So there's often a long wait to make that money, and we have to fill in the holes by speaking at conferences, which we have to prepare for, by doing critiques and first page, readings and things like that we sometimes get paid for. Sometimes it's just for goodwill, but those all take time. And so I've been shocked just by how there's really no end to my day. And you really have to, like any business owner, and I don't even own this business, but just like any person who is not working a more traditional 9-to-5 job, you have to decide when you're done, and how much time you're willing to put toward that job to have some balance with the rest of your life. And it's not an easy task. So I would love for authors to understand that we really, really want to get to all the queries and all the manuscripts, and we're just completely overloaded with other tasks, really.
Yes. And in that context, I can't imagine that there's any querying author out there who would not understand. And especially, thinking about the fact that you hope that when you do sign with an agent, that agent is putting their effort toward you.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely. We want to prioritize those authors. Otherwise, what's the point? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So that is such a great explanation. Thank you for going into that.
Yeah.
Thanks to our viewers for hanging out with us today. I hope this conversation has inspired you to blaze your own trail in the publishing industry. Remember, the full episodes are available as podcasts. Just search for Modern Publishing wherever you get your podcasts. And you can head over to bluepinbooks.com/modernpublishing to learn more. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. And that's it for now. I'll see y'all next time.